Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC here on ESPN Plus. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley and Ali Moreno. Frank Leboeuf will be with us shortly, not only to review what happened in the Champions League today, but also to give us all the latest as it seems to be falling apart by the seams at PSG. We'll start, though, at Stamford Bridge. And this was all about Bayern Munich's second half performance. They were exceptional. Just 6 minutes after the break, Serge Gnabry would make it 1-0. Lovely assist from Lewandowski. And it would be those two that would link up again 3 minutes later to make it 2. Bayern had other chances as well to add to the lead. Eventually they would, with 16 minutes remaining. Alphonso Davies, who was superb throughout this game, would find Lewandowski to make it 3-0. Alonso sent off late on. Bayern Munich really, really good today. Chelsea, not at the races. Bayern have been brilliant in the Champions League so far this season. Perfect, in fact. 7 games, 7 wins, 27 goals as well for them. They were really, really good today, weren't they? Particularly in that second half.
I think that was, maybe some people will disagree. I think that was, they've saved their best performance of the season by far for this game. Yep. They were absolutely brilliant. At half-time, we could point to a few signs that maybe Chelsea were going to keep themselves in it. Mason Mount had a couple of very good chances, but Alphonso Davies' pace got back in and thwarted him. There was a couple of other half chances, but Bayern were dominant in the first half, and they were super dominant in the second half. It was night and day. Germany's best team against the 4th best team at the moment in the Premier League, who had a transfer ban, who lost their best player, and it showed. It really showed. Frank Lampard went with the same outfit that he went with at the weekend in the same shape, but they were absolutely taken apart by this Bayern team who struggled against Paderborn on Friday, bottom of the Bundesliga. At home, I know they made some changes, but they really laboured. They did not labour today.
They like going to London. 7 against Spurs in the group stages.
Yeah, they're intimidated by the big city and the big lights. Really intimidated, Bayern Munich. Well, I can tell you that the individual talent of Bayern Munich, when you see the two-man game between Serge Gnabry and Robert Lewandowski, the understanding as to where the space is going to be, when to play the ball one touch, when to hold it a little bit and give enough time for Lewandowski to get him behind or Serge Gnabry to get him behind. And then the real pace of Alphonso Davies, which there is no substitute for. You can't teach it. When the guy gets going, there is nobody catching him. And he can do that offensively, but as Craig just alluded to, he can do it defensively as well. So he helps you quite a bit down the left-hand side. That left-hand side of Bayern Munich is untouchable. Alphonso Davies gets going with pace. Serge Gnabry can come from the left-hand side as well. Lewandowski sometimes takes himself out of the middle into the left-hand side. And today, Chelsea couldn't deal with it. And to the point to where Chelsea now is throwing players and numbers trying to figure out 1v1 situations. Well, 1v1, Alphonso Davies was pacing behind. He's going to win that all the time. Lewandowski was excellent with his movement of the ball. And Serge Gnabry, who continues to tell the story of a player where something clicks at some point in someone's career and the maturity is shown and the true ability comes out and the full potential of Serge Gnabry. You're seeing it right now, and it is outstanding.
Frank Leboeuf with us as promised. Frank, how impressed were you with Bayern today?
A lot. I have to say that, as the guy says, on the left side, with Davies and Gnabry and Thiago, that was absolutely fantastic. And I was so I would say sad for James who discovers, in fact, the Champions League and can see how far he is to reach the top level. So we wish him the best, but he's gonna have to work a lot. He seemed to be very juvenile with Mount especially in that game. Bayern Munich has everything that you need to win the Champions League. They're very compact. Boateng comes back to his best, as is Müller. Was completely forgotten with the previous coach, and is back to the race, and that's fantastically well. Of course, Gnabry and Lewandowski, they find each other, even with their eyes closed. And again, the left side, goes fast, goes back and forth, work together, gave everything. So I'm very, very impressed so far. They're my favourites for the Champions League. I want to see tomorrow Real Madrid, Manchester City, of course, but they are the favourites. But they have to say that I didn't see Chelsea. I want to know when Chelsea is going to play against Bayern Munich the first leg. They weren't there. We didn't see Kovacic. We didn't see Jorginho, who on top of it took a stupid yellow card. But they are the masters. But normally in the team, they show normally, and they have the key of the team, but they didn't show anything. And except Caballero, maybe at the beginning, first half, everybody was invisible. That's very sad.
But they're not quite at that level at the moment. That's why they're a country mile off Liverpool at the top, as are most teams. But that's why they're trying to stave off the Tottenhams and the Man Uniteds of this world and the Sheffield Uniteds. That's kind of where they are at the moment. So when the only kind of hope they had was to put in their best performance of the season at home and hope Bayern had a pretty average day.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen on both factors. So when you put both of those factors in, it's going to be a struggle for them. I never felt like the bookies, I don't think anybody did in here, that they would go through over the two legs. But I did feel personally that they would have been able to put up a better fight, certainly in this home one, which was their only chance. But clearly, they were not at the races. The one thing from Bayern, and Frank said he's got them as favourites, some have. Nobody was really talking about that before the winter break. Like Hansi Flick, the coach, was tinkering with the team, and Coutinho was in and out. I think now he's found this particular 11 in this shape is his best one going forward, barring injuries. Because for all the reasons the boys mentioned, Coman, Gnabry, Müller, Lewandowski, Thiago, Kimmich, that's a fantastic balance.
Favourites?
It's an open competition. And there isn't a team that you say, yeah, head and shoulders above everybody else, just because you thought that Liverpool might have been that team. Well, right now they're trailing. And so what I would say about Bayern Munich that was impressive today was that they showed that they have a different gear to go to that Chelsea was nowhere near finding and do not have it within their potential. Whereas Bayern Munich today, when they turned it on, when they picked up the pace, when the passing was quicker, the movement of the ball was simpler, that's when Bayern Munich were at their very best. And there was no answer from Chelsea. I don't know that there are many teams in Europe that have that gear. And if that's the case, yes, they're among the favourites.
Well, yeah, but they're among them. But I think all of us, I think clearly what we're seeing here already is people getting out the blocks, jumping the first fence with Bayern Munich and going. They've beaten Chelsea at home, away, comfortably. Chelsea. Right? This is not the Chelsea we know. They haven't gone to the Nou Camp or the Bernabeu. They haven't gone to Anfield or Paris and absolutely caned one of these teams. They've gone to a team who is, by Premier League standards at the moment, average. Great performance. However, there are other teams in here, I think, that are still before them. They would have to have done... If they'd have gone to Anfield and come away with 3-0, I'd have went, oh, my God, who's going to stop them? Or the Bernabeu. But it's Chelsea at this moment in time who have been beaten by Bournemouth at home and others. So, I would calm down a bit on Bayern.
Are we being a bit too easy on them? This time last week, we were particularly harsh on Spurs, losing 2-1 against Leipzig.
Well, Spurs are not a good side. We've seen them play recently. They're not a good side. But
what I mean is we sat here and we said Mourinho, this, that and the other. It was all very critical. Here we're complimenting Bayern a lot, but no one's questioned Frank Lampard. It's almost like, well, Chelsea are a young team. They had a transfer ban.
Well, who questioned Tottenham losing to Leipzig? I don't think many people thought Tottenham would win against Leipzig. Leipzig are second in the Bundesliga. They were top for a while. They're a better side. Tottenham have regressed. They have injuries. They're not a good side. They're not a good side to watch. Chelsea are a better side, but clearly not good enough to compete with Bayern Munich. You can look at Lampard and say, went with the three again at the back and the wing-backs. That's a mistake. It's hindsight. He could have gone to a back four. They've got the personnel. It's something he chose to do off the back of Alonso's good performance and Reece James's good performance, amongst others. But it just didn't happen, and they were exposed.
The criticism following the Spurs game was on Jose Mourinho and his handling of the post-game press conference and the interviews he gave, in which he was already giving you reasons as to why he had lost that game and why he would lose in the weekend against Chelsea. We talked about it. We mentioned it. Well documented. Captain deflected. That was the criticism. Because it's a team that could potentially have done better than what they did against Leipzig, and they were not allowed to do so by their manager. As it pertains to Chelsea, it's a team that has shown to be inconsistent. So this is not a surprise. It should not be a surprise that Bayern goes into Chelsea and wins the game in the manner in which they did. The surprising part is, for the first 45 minutes, it looked like, okay, maybe. But as I just mentioned earlier, when Bayern Munich went to a different level. Chelsea had no answer for that.
Meanwhile, as you mention it and use the nice phrase to describe it, it just has clicked for Gnabry at exactly the right time.
There's nothing better to see from the outside looking in, to see a player who had his trials and tribulations and was on loan at West Brom from Arsenal, and he couldn't for some reason couldn't cut it. He's a world beater. I mean, he's quality. He's quick. He's strong. He's alert. He knows what's around him. He's got a picture. He can score goals. He can set them up. And I can only credit the lad himself, because nobody saw that coming.
Yeah.
And you can sit back and say, well, Arsenal let him go, and that coach didn't see this. But sometimes a player in training might have an injury, a lack of confidence, a bad attitude, or whatever it is, lifestyle, and then it just sorts itself out. And the other side, he's playing with better players.
Yeah.
He goes to Munich, and you're not allowed to be slacking.
No, and you're alongside Robert Lewandowski. Frank, is it fair to say the best striker in the world at the moment?
Well, if he's not the number one, he's not that far. He shows so much composure, selfishness as well. You know, when in the way that he served twice, where especially the first assist where he could have shot. And he's a fantastic player. I love the way he plays, the way he thinks football, the way he makes his runs. Shows me that he knows very well what he has to do, and he does it very, very well. On top of it, he's a top scorer, and he never gives up. He was still, after 3-0, he was still showing himself. I want the ball. Give me the ball. I'm going to run after and when I lose, as soon as I lose the ball, Sorry, I'm going to chase the guy. I mean, fantastic mentality, fantastic player. Yeah. If he's not the first, he's not too far.
He's the first.
He's the first.
Yeah. He's head and shoulders above everybody else right now.
He's the first.
Hold up play, link up play, runs the channels, batters defenders around, heads it on, clever.
Those 2 assists today were
The
brilliant.
assist when he could easily have shot.
Yeah.
Most people would have shot. The goal scoring, the work rate. Best by a long shot.
There's another thing that he does quite well, and it's the timing of his runs. As the crosses are coming in, you always see him attacking the ball at the perfect moment. And that takes some patience, that takes some understanding, that takes anticipation, knowing where the ball is going to go, and then to have the change of pace to get there and finish the chance. He's something else right now.
What do you reckon odds for Chelsea to qualify for the next round?
I would say 1 to 100 against.
50 to 1. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich 500 to 1 on. That means you have to put £500, dollars, euros, whatever you want.
Well, I tell you what, I'm quite happy to put $500 on to win $1.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
What? I'm getting $1.
Meanwhile, elsewhere, it finished Napoli 1, Barcelona 1. Dries Mertens with a beautiful goal in the first half to give the hosts the lead. Barcelona, though, would equalise through Antoine Griezmann in the second half. However, Busquets will be out for the second leg after picking up another yellow card. Vidal sent off. He will also be missing for that return tie at the Camp Nou. Piqué a doubt for the Clásico after picking up an injury late on. Remember, Piqué, the Clásico is this weekend. This game was hard to watch, wasn't it? I didn't enjoy this at all.
Just think of the positive. It's good practice for tomorrow's Lyon-Juventus game. You know what I mean? So we can practice our not enjoying the game on probably what we're going to get tomorrow. I think it's a little unsurprising, bearing in mind Napoli knew they would be outplayed by Barcelona. It's not the Napoli of Sarri's term where they would go at teams. It's a different animal. They did what they had to do well, apart from the goal, which was a blow to them. But most of the things they did on the counter were pretty good, particularly the Mertens goal. But I suppose in some sense, people are finding Setien's Barcelona a little tedious, boring.
Yeah, 724 passes they completed Barcelona. Of those, I can tell you, without having all the numbers in front of me, but it felt like maybe 10, 20 of those were actually forward passes, penetrating passes. Everything is just sideways and back. And sideways and back, and so slow and so predictable, we made it very easy for Napoli to just sit in behind and try to force a turnover. In fact, it was Napoli that looked the more dangerous team in transition whenever they did force a turnover to go and attack Barcelona. Look, I look at a Barcelona team that if indeed you're going to keep the ball, because that's what Setien wants and that's the Barcelona makeup, it has to be quicker, sharper. the movement of the ball has to be quicker. It has to be one-touch passing, and it has to be to the point to where you have to threaten him behind. The one time they threatened him behind was Semedo that got it with that run in the second half. Forward pass by Busquets. God forbid there's a forward pass in this game. Forward pass by Busquets. And the one time that you see Antoine Griezmann attacking the ball in the box, he scores. To his credit, he may have touched the ball 5 times in this game, but one of them was productive. Right. So if you're Barcelona, you take the 1-1, you take the away goal, and you run away from Napoli. If you're Napoli, you'll be so very disappointed that you allow Barcelona to escape out of here with the result that they did. Because Barcelona were nowhere near their best and nowhere near a team that looked like they were going to score today. Frank?
Yeah, I agree with you, Dan, and with the guys. I didn't enjoy the game. Nothing to say about Napoli because they gave their best, and I think they were unfortunate to concede a goal where, in fact, they were at the peaks in terms of dominations and possession of the ball. But when I watch Barcelona with the players they have, the club they are, there was a time where Jorge going around the defense and trying to find an open door was cool, but it's like now it's getting boring, you know. It's like I'm not watching a soccer game. I'm watching a handball game, which is in fact handball because it's German. It was invented by them. But you go around, you try to find an open door, but it goes so slow, and then maybe you're gonna shoot or maybe not because you're gonna restart an action. You can even fall asleep and come back 5 minutes later. It's still the same action. So yeah, I agree with Ali. I think Barcelona must be very happy to come back to Catalonia with a draw. Napoli must be very sad because they should have done better. They deserve better.
It's a proper tie, though, in the second half, isn't it? And there's a second leg. Barca 5-1 on, Napoli 3-1. But as I mentioned, no Busquets, no Vidal, Piqué out. Makes a difference.
That's an emergency.
Get some signings in.
Me harping on about this is almost as boring as watching them sometimes. But, you know, you looked at that side tonight and, you know, emergency signing nonsense. I know Braithwaite can't play in the Champions League, but it's still a very good side. They've got injuries, they can still bring players in. It would still be a surprise. Pretty big one if Barcelona were not to go through. But at least from Gattuso's point of view, he can go there, charge the players up, sit in, see if he can catch them on the counter.
The challenge for Barcelona is that they don't seem, in their minds, to have any depth. The number of players that Setien uses is very limited. Yeah. And so now, if some of those players are injured or suspended, now you're in trouble.
Barca are rubbish away, by the way, in the knockout stages of the Champions League. They've only won 1 of their last 9 matches, just scoring 3 measly goals. It is the biggest tie of the knockout stages. Real Madrid taking on Manchester City. According to the bookies, it's City who are favourites, 5-2 on to advance. Real Madrid at 7-4. It's not exactly top-notch punditry, but no surprise really, I suppose, on this show, Craig. But we were saying before, this could go anywhere. It's very difficult to predict what this game's going to be like.
Yeah, I don't agree with the odds. I think it's, for me, it's evens. I really do think it's evens because they've had a little blip recently, Real Madrid, but they did pick up a head of steam for quite a while that took them to the top of the Liga. Man City, we know, are as good, or if not the best footballing side out there, but have a hell of a Achilles heel at the back. We just don't know if they're going to be able to sort that. With Laporte back, it helps. But still, and we saw it against Leicester, for those that saw the game at the weekend, the ball in behind is still a big threat. I think it's a 50-50 call, this one. Real
Madrid, obviously, without Eden Hazard. So, talking about expectations for the starting 11, do you imagine it would be like a Bale, Isco, Benzema sort of situation?
Interesting that they would choose to go in that direction, given the fact that that means that you're going to send Modric to the bench. And if you're Real Madrid, at some point you have to take into consideration the idea that maybe you need numbers around the midfield to counteract whatever it is that Manchester City tries to do with the possession. Now, if you're going to have Bales because you're saying, you know what, we're going to drop numbers behind the ball, we're going to be effective and efficient defensively, and we're going to force Manchester City into turnovers, and when we do create that turnover, we're going to try to exploit the speed of Gareth Bale. It's not because Gareth Bale is going to give you work defensively, and he's going to get in passing lanes and in good areas tactically. It's because you're saying, with his speed and that ball down the side that Craig was just talking about, maybe Bale can get on the end of something and create something special. a decision, it's a big decision by Zinedine Zidane, but it's a decision that can change the way that Real Madrid plays. If you see Bale out on the field, it means that everybody else is going to get behind the ball, and Bale and Benzema will be the attacking options. If Modric is on the field, it's because now Zidane is saying, we're going to match your midfielders with our midfielders, and we're going to see who's better at passing the ball around. You can still have the ball, but we can be more effective on the counter.
Meanwhile, for Manchester City, Pep announced in his pre-match press conference that Raheem Sterling is available. Hasn't played since February 2nd.
He's in.
You start him, no question.
Yeah, I mean, what's that, 3 weeks?
Yes.
Give or take?
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Mahrez or anybody else, but Raheem, particularly away from home, Raheem Sterling's pace and his directness and running at defenders is just a must for me. If he's fit, he plays. I don't have any concern for Man City in the forward areas. They'll create chances for Aguero, De Bruyne, whoever plays in there, Silva, Bernardo Silva, whatever, Sterling. They will create chances. Man City fans and Pep Guardiola himself go to bed, and I'm sure there's a massive headache about what the hell are we going to do to ourselves at the back.
Yeah.
They did it at Liverpool a couple of years ago, shot themselves in the foot, couldn't recover. You don't come back from poor basic defending against teams like Real Madrid. You just don't get away with it for the second leg. And if they can show that up, and that's a big if from what we've seen this year, they can go through because they're good enough. If they can't, Real Madrid will beat them.
Couple of things when it comes to Manchester City. The one thing that they have to make sure is there's a penalty kick to be taken. Somebody has to be able to put it away.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. You cannot miss chances as you have missed chances over the last month or so. Not in Champions League, not against Real Madrid, not at the Santiago Bernabeu.
Frank Leboeuf, how much are you looking forward to this one?
A lot, I wish I was already tomorrow. It could be a Champions League final. I mean, I want to see the two teams being confronted, and it's highest level that you can get, I guess. I think Real Madrid will defend pretty deep. If we look at the first 11, with even Mendy on the left side instead of Marcelo, and the three midfield, no Modric, no Isco, maybe on the side. Valverde comes back with Casemiro and Kroos. So I think Manchester City will have the most possession, but yeah, be careful with Bale in the counter-attack, with Benzema and their paces. So I want to see it. I want to see it. It's going to be a masterpiece, I'm sure.
Yeah, it should be fun, shouldn't it? We'll, of course, be here tomorrow to look back at that game, plus a bit of Lyon-Juventus. It's fair to say that 2020 has been pretty rubbish so far for Thomas Tuchel. It's just a soap opera that seems to be snowballing day by day. Frank, let's just talk about some of the big aspects, shall we, that's been hitting the headlines of late. Starting off with that birthday party in which PSG players attended 48 hours after that defeat against Borussia Dortmund. It's interesting because normally that's swept under the carpet. It's like players, they deserve the right to just go and blow off some steam. What makes it slightly different is Thomas Tuchel came out and criticised them for it.
Yes, in fact, it was in the dressing room a meeting between the players, Leonardo and Tuchel, and Leonardo and Thomas Tuchel, players, maybe the board, and there is nothing much to do. I think Tuchel doesn't know what to do anymore with the players. I
bet you were glad they don't have camera phones back in your day, Mr. Burley.
You couldn't make this up. It looks like they're having a great time.
Where do you stand? Right, let's start with party, because we're going to go through other things with Frank. Where do you stand on this?
I think the thing is, and even back in the day before the camera phones, you had to be acutely aware of results and timing. And I remember if we'd lost a big game, say an Old Firm game against Rangers, right, lads, we can't be seen. We'll go for a quiet one tonight.
Yeah.
Stay out of the way. You just have to be careful. But it seems these PSG players, and it shouldn't be a surprise to Thomas Tuchel that he's gone into a circus, because it's been a circus for quite a while. But it seems these PSG players, the results are kind of secondary to everything else that's going on in their life. If they get the results, great. If they don't, Well, we move on.
Is anybody surprised that it is Juan Icardi who put out the video?
Yeah.
Huh? Who would be the happiest right now, with the current situation with Icardi in this club? Who would be the happiest with Thomas Tuchel in trouble? Juan Icardi and Mauro Icardi.
This, of course, Frank, is off the back. In fact, he didn't start in the game against Borussia Dortmund, didn't come on at all. Apparently, he was furious with this decision.
Yes, he was. Well, the media in France didn't really talk about it because there are so many things to talk about. You know, with Kipembe's brother, with Neymar leaving the stadium after 20 minutes after being sent off and not being with Cavani for his 200 goals for the club. Mbappe not even saying anything to Tuchel anymore. I mean, there are so many stories. There are so many stories with those players that we don't know where to start, and we don't know who we can trust and what we can hope for the next game against Dortmund, the second leg. So it's complicated. Cavani is back, and Cavani is maybe the only one you can trust in that squad with Marquinhos maybe, but that's it. That's it. The others, they're getting crazy. And as Craig said, we call it the PSG circus. Because, you know, I mean, we never seen that in any club. And Tuchel cannot do anything. I'm sure you can put Nagelsmann, you can put Gasperini in Atlanta, who have good players but not stars, and they will do the same as Tuchel, like did Emery. You need somebody very, very strong, maybe a Zidane, maybe a Guardiola, to maybe cope with those players. Otherwise, it's impossible.
Of course, for PSG, it's all about the Champions League. They will take on
other people injured, on top of Meunier and Verratti suspended, that we don't know what's going to be the team within 2-3 weeks. Hopefully, Tuchel will find 11 players to be able to play and pick some guys from the reserve. But I still think that Paris Saint-Germain can sort out the problems and get through. But the commitment of the player will be the key of that second leg. You can play with stars. If they don't want to play, what are you going to do?
Well, all those second legs are great at the moment, apart from
the Chelsea Bayern.
Apart from the Chelsea Bayern, the Liverpool Atleti, the Napoli Barcelona, and this PSG Dortmund game sits probably at the top of the pile at the moment, and which could be the most exciting. They should get the job done. But I'm less convinced than I was before the tie started because of all the problems, because of the performance in Germany, and because of what Dortmund have started to do, particularly with that young lad up front.
Yeah. It's difficult to trust PSG, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're betting, you're like, I can't.
Yeah. They're giving you every reason not to trust them. And let's just assume now that, okay, Thomas Tuchel has lost control. He has lost control of this locker room. But this is still about the players. The players are still the ones that go out on the field. So if you have true leadership within that locker room, which I don't think you do, but if you did, you could still get players together and say, hey, he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's lost control. But we don't have to lose control. We can go out there and represent ourselves. And we can go out there and advance the way that we're supposed to. And we can be the best version of Neymar and Cavani and Mbappe and so on and so forth. But in order to have that, you have to have leadership and presence in the locker room. And I don't know if that exists at PSG.
You know, in the modern game, with when everybody talks about the super agents and clubs losing control and players, the huge egos, the huge wages, the millionaires that they are, if you want to paint a picture of the modern club that just cannot keep control of the modern player, it is PSG. Yeah. Because they have all the talent, but unfortunately, they've got some of the biggest heads in world football, and it could all come crashing down for Thomas Tuchel very, very quickly in a week or two.
We'll just wrap this up, Frank, by getting your thoughts on the red card, which you mentioned before, of course, that Neymar received at the weekend. What did you make of it?
Well, stupid, because, of course, he was just kicked a little bit just before, but that's Neymar. I mean, he really lost it really right now, you know. He doesn't play his best football. Some people are saying that he put on some weight. I don't know if it's true. But he was teasing the medias and the people on Twitter saying, I'm not going to the carnival in Rio. Oh, no polemics, no nothing, no problems. You know, I mean, he doesn't think about football. I don't know, maybe thinking about going away at the end of the season, as Mbappe is doing as well. And I think it's impossible for Tuchel to even talk to them. It's dead right now. I think Tuchel lost his dressing room trying to do a tactic who didn't work and being hammered by the players. And Neymar complaining on top of it, not playing before that game, where for the last 2 years he got injured, and Tuchel and Leonardo didn't want to take the risk. But where is the chairman? Where is the president? Where is the board? Where even is Leonardo the last week to help Tuchel out with all the problems? We didn't hear anybody.
Now, for a lot more on... Stevie at the opening. He's had a couple of drinks, gets hungry. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow for more. Until then, goodbye. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you very much for your tweets. I've got Craig and Ali here. Frank Leboeuf also with us. Frank, I want to start with you with your Chelsea ways. Would you have played Kepa today?
Pepe?
Kepa.
Kepa. I say, well, what are we talking about? You know, I thought he was sleeping for Arsenal.
How much red wine did you have during the break?
Nothing. No, because I mean, Caballero did the job. He was pretty good in the first half, but he was on his own. Really, he wasn't helped. I don't think Kepa would have done something special. No, say no.
Well, he wasn't at fault for any of the goals really today, was he?
No, that wasn't the reason they lost. No.
How does Alonso get sent off for that when Lo Celso received nothing? Well, we now know Lo Celso should have received something.
Yeah, that's a different problem.
Yeah. Is it a bit harsh on Alonso?
No, he takes a swing.
Yeah.
I think it's a red card, but that doesn't mean that Lo Celso was not a red card as well. It should have been a red card, but I think it's well documented. We've talked about it quite a bit, that VAR in the Premier League is bad.
Well, the officials looking at the monitor seem to have some
apparently it's very challenging.
Well,
so very difficult to look at a monitor and make up your mind from what you see on TV.
Just because you're a good referee doesn't mean you're a good VAR referee.
What?
According to Peter Walton.
Look at a monitor. Yes, it's a foul. Off you go.
Show me another replay. There. Not very good at this.
Yeah. By the way, VAR worked well tonight.
Yeah.
We're going over to the monitor.
A quick over to the monitor, make a decision.
Yeah.
Happened in the Barcelona game as well.
I don't remember that. What happened?
No, I'm just making that up.
Oh,
That's all right. That's all right.
We've talked so much about VAR. I thought I'd throw it in there.
Well, good.
Did it not happen in the Barcelona game?
I don't think so, no.
All right, okay.
Was it a red card for you, Frank?
For Alonso? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
definitely,
good.
yeah.
Frank, if you could either go to Carnival with Shaka, Shaka, I don't know why I said Shaka in a weird way, or Neymar's birthday party with Jules, which would you go to?
I will go with Shaka.
Yeah.
I will go with Shaka for sure. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun.
I'm sure I'm going to enjoy my time.
Easy answer.
Yeah.
You go with Shaka to Trinidad and Tobago and Carnival.
Yeah, because if you go to the carnival, it's about the carnival. If you go to the party, it's about his nibs.
Exactly. And there'll be videos and things that's...
Sure, I saw some bar in that bottle.
I have to believe that... I know.
Sure,
I have to believe that Carnival with Shaka in Trinidad and Tobago has to be something special.
Yeah. There's more on that later, actually.
I'm just saying.
Right, what's more likely? Chelsea to qualify or Stevie to complete his diet?
Oh, Chelsea to qualify.
Chelsea, I've got better chance of coming back.
Right. Chelsea are coming back 100%. Chelsea.
Well, there isn't a diet to be completed. It's a fallacy.
But he eats well.
He eats very well, actually.
It's all the other things. It's not what I eat, it's all the other things.
If you consider copious amounts of certain stuff, he eats very well, yes.
Portion control is a slight issue. UEFA to allow Barca emergency transfer replacements for Vidal and Busquets since they're suspended for the second leg.
Well, they might ask.
Yep. Have you ever played with someone like Vidal in your team? Hothead. I suppose they didn't say hothead, but I assume that's what they're kind of talking about.
Yeah. And those sort of guys, they're annoying.
Right.
And sometimes they can be annoying even in the locker room and training sessions, what have you. But you like to have them in your team.
They're going to fight your corner.
Well, yes, because you know there's something missing up there. But that guy, you need him in moments in which you need to make a statement. That's the guy that you send out there. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead. You do what you do.
I tell you what, ask Frank about Dennis Wise.
Yeah. I immediately thought about that guy, which is the nicest guy in the world. You know, when you are his teammate and in a lifestyle, you know, he's very, he's a fantastic person. But yeah, he's crazy. I remember playing a friendly game in Milan at San Siro against AC Milan, and Dugarry coming to me and say, "What is that? You know, why he can't stop? You know, kicking people. It's a friendly game, for God's sake." And I say, "No, that guy doesn't understand the meaning of friendly. He has to fight. He has to kill somebody on the field. That's how Denis Wise was."
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. He just couldn't help himself, Wisey. But he was fantastic. Good captain of the club and all that. But he swore a lot.
Right.
I'm telling you, he swore, and it was incredible. You think I swear a lot off TV?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, you're not as bad as Paul Mariner is the worst swearer.
Oh yeah.
And it's a bit of a foghorn as well.
Yeah. Loudness.
Frank, if you're a manager starting a team tomorrow, would you pick Gnabry or Mo Salah?
Oh. Gnabry is absolutely fantastic right now, but Salah showed the last year, even more than that. He already there. He's already there. That he has the level that you want to see when you want to watch a top player. Gnabry is coming up there, but Salah is already there. So Salah.
Salah.
Well, what's the plan for this team? Are we looking into the future? Are we building?
I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the year plan is.
I need more information. See, who's going to be in the front office? Who's the decision maker? Is Tuchel going to be coaching this team? Because if Tuchel is coaching this team, you need players that are actually going to listen, not just going to run the club.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Gnabry.
Gnabry? Okay.
I just want commentary tomorrow.
Right, yes, we had some issues today.
I just want commentary
producer
tomorrow.
can get commentary on.
No, he didn't get his commentary on the Chelsea Bayern Munich game.
We just want
we had pictures. Well, tomorrow will be commentary, no pictures.
Right.
Yeah, he's not here, but we'll blame him anyway.
Did anyone snitch on Xhaka?
Somewhere.
I'm making a list. Is the tweet, because apparently if you're at Carnival, no one can take pictures of you. What happens there stays there. And I can tell you that I've had one picture and that's it, and that wasn't even that bad. So obviously...
So there is pictures?
I've seen one picture someone sent me.
Oh, somebody sent you?
But
you got friends down there?
Sorry? No, someone just sent it to me on Instagram.
What's he wearing, feathers?
No, just like normal clothes.
What has happened with Xhaka?
I don't know. I think everyone is kind of...
they're protecting him.
They've come together.
They're protecting him?
Exactly.
Whoa.
What we need is Icardi's wife to go down.
Yes, and then she'll put it all out.
Put it all there. Frank, did you celebrate Pancake Day today?
No, because it's not a Pancake Day in France. It's before in the... well, yeah, it is, in fact, yeah. No, I forgot. No? I'm on diet as well. I'm going to the gym like twice a day, so I don't think about eating.
Wow.
I'm just thinking about getting flat, really flat. And I didn't eat any pancakes for the past 2 months, I think, or even more.
Don't eat pancakes.
Don't you eat crepes anyway? Is it crepe or a pancake? What's the difference?
Yeah, we say crepes, yeah.
Yeah?
That's different. It's thinner. It's thinner. It's bigger, but thinner.
Americans do pancakes well. Much better than the British. Our pancakes are thin and rubbish here.
Do you like pancakes?
You like a
I don't dislike pancakes, I just don't eat a lot of them.
Yeah, good.
So, you know, when Frank was saying that he was getting flat, and I was thinking of Stevie Nicol. It's just not going to happen.
Poor Stevie.
It's just not going to happen.
But Frank, you're not carrying any weight, are you? So what are you trying to lose? You're not carrying any weight.
No, but I'm 52 now, and I realized that a little bit of you know, fat over here, over there, and a little bit on the app. So I try to lose them, you know. I don't want to look like, you know, I don't know. I'm fighting against something that's going to happen anyway, so I don't know why I'm doing that, but that's who I am.
Well, that's good motivation, Frank. Thank you very much. So many things we could say. So many appointments with HR would have to be made. Thank you very much, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Manchester City against Real Madrid. It should be an absolute belter. Same lineup will be here.